Leonard Leakey Hofstadter, Ph.D., is a fictional character on the CBS television series The Big Bang Theory, portrayed by actor Johnny Galecki. Leonard is an experimental physicist, who shares an apartment with colleague and best friend Dr. Sheldon Cooper. For his portrayal, Galecki was nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award and a Golden Globe Award in 2011. Leonard has been described as the straight man of the series. Penny is Leonard's next-door neighbor and main love interest, and the teasing of romance between the two of them is a major force driving the series. In the Gorilla Dissolution, they finally become engaged. Creation and casting: Leonard is named after actor-producer Sheldon Leonard, and Nobel Prize laureate Robert Hofstadter. Johnny Galecki was originally asked to play the role of Sheldon Cooper, but thought he would be better suited for the character of Leonard. Personality: originally from New Jersey and a graduate of Princeton University, Leonard works as a Caltech experimental physicist, mainly working with lasers, and shares an apartment with colleague Sheldon Cooper in Pasadena, California. He is usually seen wearing his characteristic black thick-framed glasses, low-cut black Converse All-Stars sneakers, pastel hoodies or neutral-colored sweat jackets or a combination of the two, brown or red trousers, and physics-themed t-shirts. His various girlfriends have tried to change his outfits. Penny had no success while Stephanie got him to wear dress shirts and sweaters, and Priya got him to briefly switch to dress shirts, waistcoats and dark slacks. He reverted to his original outfits after she leaves for India, but started eschewing his hoodies in favor of unbuttoned safari shirts and non-hooded jackets towards the end of the 7th season, a trend that continued into the 8th season. Although Leonard feels at home with his geek colleagues, he wants to be more social. Among the main characters, he generally has the least amount of difficulty interacting with non-geek individuals. He is instantly captivated by Penny, and from the beginning sets out to date her. In early episodes, Leonard is reluctant to let Penny know about his recreational activities, as he does not want her to see him as a geek. While certainly a geek by most definitions, he is less socially inept than Sheldon, Raj, and Howard. Leonard can also play the cello, although he holds the bow upside down and plays on the fingerboard. As seen in the Season 1 episode The Hamburger Postulate, he and Leslie Winkle practice their instruments and then leave to have intercourse. Despite his attempts to not appear to be a geek, Leonard owns, among other things, Star Wars hygiene products, a prop of the One Ring, an expansive Superman comic book collection and a Battlestar Galactica Colonial Warriors flight suit. Early in the series, Leonard tried to get rid of his collectibles to impress Penny with his maturity. However, he changed his mind when he saw that Penny was already dating another man. Because he has lived with Sheldon for many years, Leonard knows him better than his other colleagues. This has led Sheldon to believe that Leonard is his best friend. Nevertheless, Leonard often finds himself explaining Sheldon's behavior or serving as a mediator between him and other people in many situations. For instance, when Penny and Sheldon engaged in a fierce dispute, Leonard gave Penny Sheldon's mother's phone number so she would call her son and scold him for his behavior, thus ending the fight. The staircase implementation features a flashback to when Leonard first moved in with Sheldon. Leonard explains to Penny that he moved in despite the difficulty of living with Sheldon because the rent was so reasonable. Shortly after moving in, during a rocketry experiment Leonard, Raj and Howard conducted, Sheldon observed miscalculations Leonard made in mixing the rocket fuel and managed to avert disaster by grabbing the fuel and placing it in their apartment building's elevator. The resulting explosion disabled the elevator, thus explaining why the elevator is out of order for the duration of the series. Leonard explains that Sheldon, despite his tendency to alienate others, kept quiet about Leonard's destruction of the elevator. Despite Leonard's reasonable nature and friendly personality, he occasionally demonstrates a mean streak. These include deliberately triggering Sheldon's obsessive-compulsive problems, mocking Howard and Raj whenever they slip up, and making sniping comments when Penny's commitment issues flare up. In addition, he is often shown to be quite jealous, often feeling insecure and defensive whenever Penny interacts with another guy, and on one occasion trying to frighten off a British college student she was doing a project with, because Penny commented positively on his accent. Leonard's primary health concern is his lactose intolerance. His consuming melon or any dairy products results in flatulence. Leonard wears eyeglasses because of myopia, and cannot see without them. On one occasion, when his glasses were broken at the movie theater, he had to surreptitiously return to his apartment and retrieve his backup glasses. In order to avoid detection by a sick Sheldon and Penny, who was nursing him, Howard and Raj helped him to navigate through the living room by using a helmet camera. Leonard states in one episode that he suffers from sleep apnea. During his relationship with Leslie Winkle, he tells her that many members of his family have died from heart disease and thus he has a genetic disposition to the condition. At various points in the show, Sheldon also says that Leonard gets carsick unless he sits in the front seat. In Season 4, it was revealed that Leonard has asthma as well, and also has to use the inhaler after intercourse. Family. All of the members of Leonard's family are accomplished scientists, except for his younger brother Michael, who is a tenured law professor at Harvard University. Leonard's mother, Dr. Beverly Hofstadter, is a psychiatrist and neuroscientist. She has a personality almost identical to Sheldon's, including strict speech patterns, lack of social conventions, and attention to detail, and she is principally responsible for Leonard's difficult childhood. Sheldon and Beverly have a friendly relationship where they share details of each other's lives, with Sheldon often failing to pass on significant information such as Leonard's parents divorcing and the family dog Mitzi's death. Leonard is upset with that fact that she tells Sheldon more than she tells him. After a night out of bonding and drinking with Penny, Beverly kisses Sheldon, but realizes there are no romantic feelings involved. Due to his mother's views, Leonard never celebrated his birthday when he was a child, and when she visited him she was not impressed with his unoriginal research. Leonard revealed to Penny that he built a hugging machine, when he was young, in order to compensate for the lack of affection from his mother. He further stated that his father used to borrow it. Beverly also belittles Leonard by pointing out that his brother and sister are more successful in their respective fields than he is. Leonard's brother, Michael, is a Harvard law professor and is engaged to the youngest appellate court judge in New Jersey history, and his older sister is a cutting-edge medical researcher working with Gibbons to cure diabetes. Leonard also dislikes Christmas because instead of gifts the Hofstadter kids had to turn in papers to Santa, which were graded the next day, and in the course of 6 years he never got over a C-, which in Sheldon's view was a true gift, because, by Sheldon's thoughts, he never deserved over it. Leonard had a childhood pet, a cat named Dr. Boots Hofstadter. Leonard's father is briefly mentioned as an anthropologist. Sheldon reveals that Leonard's middle name, Leakey, comes from famed archaeologist Louis Leakey, with whom Leonard's father had worked. Leonard is embarrassed by his middle name and its humorous connotations, and rarely mentions it, as the name is an obvious embarrassment. Apparently his father was not very affectionate towards him either, when he mentions that he had to compete with the bones of an Etruscan kid for his father's favor. Though little is known about Leonard's extended family, a few references to it have been made. In the first episode, Sheldon and Leonard discuss Leonard's grandmother, who had visited them on Thanksgiving the year before. She has Alzheimer's disease and apparently had an episode during her visit, which resulted in her stripping off her clothes and carving the turkey. On Beverly's first visit, she tells Leonard that his uncle Floyd has died, which greatly upsets him. Leonard also has several other uncles, which Sheldon says are all very bald, and when they gather together, they look like a half carton of eggs. Leonard describes his aunt, however, as being one of the hairiest women you'll ever meet. Work. Leonard has an IQ of 173, and was 24 years old when he received his Ph.D. from Princeton University. Leonard also received a Dissertation of the Year award for his doctoral paper on experimental particle physics. Leonard has been established to have been a child prodigy, and a gifted scientist with an impressive knowledge of theoretical physics. His work as an experimental physicist often includes the use of lasers, such as a helium or euroneon laser or free electron laser, and his research topics have varied from Bose-Einstein condensates and foundations of quantum mechanics to soft cosmic rays at sea level and development of novel rocket propellants. Leonard designs experiments in order to test theories but, according to Sheldon, his work is mostly derivative and thus unimportant. Although Leonard's attempts to disprove the existence of dark matter were made moot by the work of another physicist, Leonard helped to solidify proof of the hypothetical matter's existence with a photomultiplier, and was invited as keynote speaker to a topical conference by the Institute of Experimental Physics for his successful research on supersolids. From the season 6 finale, The Bon Voyage reaction, Leonard heads to the United Kingdom to work on a physics project searching the hydrodynamics equivalent of the Unruh effect, sponsored by Professor Stephen Hawking, for 3 months on a ship in the North Sea. Relationships. Leonard became interested in Penny almost immediately after seeing her for the first time. His infatuation with Penny becomes the major force that drives the series during the first seasons. By the end of the first season, Leonard finally managed to ask Penny out, and they had their first date. Subsequently, they broke up because Penny felt she was not as smart as Leonard would like. Besides Penny, Leonard has been involved with only a few other women. One of Leonard's former girlfriends that is mentioned in several occasions is Joyce Kim, who did not appear until the 3rd season. Leonard's friends recalled on many occasions that they were together for only 27 days, after which Joyce, later revealed to be a spy, defected to North Korea. Initially, after feeling that Penny was not for him, Leonard turned his attention to fellow scientist Leslie Winkle. The first time Leonard asked Leslie out, she rejected him, and his further relationships with her proved to be only short-lived casual sex encounters that only happened to satisfy Leslie's libido. Leslie briefly started dating Leonard during season 2, but when he failed to back her up in an argument with Sheldon, she dumped him. In the 2nd season, Leonard began a stable relationship with a physician named Stephanie Barnett. Although the relationship went well, even earning Sheldon's approval, Leonard felt uncomfortable with Stephanie moving in with him, and the relationship ended. On another occasion, when Leonard's mother was visiting, he and Penny came very close to having sex, but Leonard ruined the moment by suggesting that they were bearing their lifelong issues with their parents by doing so, which offended Penny. In the 2nd season finale, when Leonard, Sheldon, Howard, and Raj were due to leave for a 3-month scientific expedition to the North Pole, Penny privately expressed sadness, and wished that he would not leave. In the 3rd season premiere, Leonard and Penny finally started a romantic relationship and had intercourse for the first time. However, the relationship ended after 8 months, after Leonard told Penny he loved her and took umbrage at her inability to reciprocate, which led to friction that was exploited by guest star Wil Wheaton, who appeared as a fictionalized version of himself, who observed and exacerbated it in order to break them up in the middle of a bowling match Wheaton's team was having against Leonard, Penny, Sheldon, Howard and Raj. Shortly after his breakup with Penny, in the Plimpton stimulation, Leonard has a one-night stand with Dr. Elizabeth Plimpton, a physicist he admires, when Sheldon invited her to stay in their apartment for a brief visit. This encounter causes some tension between Leonard and Penny, who is somewhat judgmental of Leonard's doing so. However, the two later resolve their feelings and their friendship continues. In the 3rd season finale, The Lunar Excitation, after Penny's failed attempts to move on from her relationship with Leonard, she becomes intoxicated and has sex with him. In the morning, Leonard believes that their relationship has resumed, though Penny tells him that the previous night was a mistake. This causes a strain on their friendship. At the end of the episode, Leonard becomes intoxicated and tries to have intercourse with her, prompting Penny to push him out of her apartment, to which Leonard suspects a double standard. He immediately makes the same advances towards Leslie Winkle, who replies "let me think about it," and slams the door in his face. Throughout the 4th season, it becomes obvious that Penny is still in love with Leonard. It is unclear whether or not Leonard has noticed this, though he clearly is still interested in Penny. In The Benefactor Factor, a woman propositions Leonard in exchange for a large donation to the physics department. He initially resists and she admits that she planned to make the donation anyway, after which they engage in a one-night stand. Leonard arrives home the next morning, whereupon Penny recognizes his walk of shame, and Sheldon thinks Leonard has a future in becoming a gigolo to rich ladies in exchange for donations. Leonard also has an affair with Raj's younger sister Priya, despite a pinky swear with Howard that neither of them would attempt to make a move on her, and Raj giving his strong disapproval. When Priya returns, she and Leonard begin a relationship. Raj strongly opposes this, and Penny is secretly uncomfortable with Leonard dating someone else, eventually breaking down and crying while talking with her friend Amy Farrah Fowler. Once again, Leonard is unaware of Penny's true feelings. Subsequently, Priya pressures Leonard into ending his friendship with Penny, which he attempts with extreme reluctance. Penny complies, though it is clear that she does not want Leonard out of her life. Penny eventually resolves to stay in Leonard's life by ingratiating herself to Priya. In the season 4 finale, Leonard runs into Penny and Raj as they come out of his room in the morning, just after Leonard and Priya appear to break up upon Leonard's learning that Priya is soon moving back to India. At the start of season 5, Leonard and Priya are trying to maintain a long-distance relationship via Skype, with Priya continuing to treat Leonard like a submissive partner. Despite being the most eager to have sex, Leonard proves here he is quite awkward in these situations. Leonard later goes to a wedding with Amy, and they seem to take a liking to each other, though Sheldon disapproves, karate chopping Leonard and saying, "She's not for you. Not for you." Later, despite feeling that he and Priya were in love and might get married, Leonard finds himself attracted to a comic book artist named Alice. The attraction is mutual, and they even share a kiss. Right when they are about to have sex, however, he tells Alice that he has a girlfriend, thus ending the relationship. Leonard then decides to confess his behavior to Priya via Skype, but he is shocked to learn that Priya has also betrayed him, sleeping with her former boyfriend. Priya defends that they both slipped up a little, but Leonard corrects her saying that he slipped a little, while she slipped a lot, bringing the conversation to a strained end. In the next episode, Leonard tells Sheldon that he is single, implying that he and Priya have broken up. His actions since then have confirmed their split occurred. Through the 4th and 5th seasons, Penny was still single and dating, though when intoxicated, she has confessed that she regrets breaking up with Leonard. In the Ornithophobia diffusion, Leonard and Penny go to the movies as friends. Leonard decides that since they are no longer dating, he can be honest and does not have to pay for everything or do whatever Penny wants. The two bicker all evening and sabotage each other's attempts to chat up people in the bar. Penny decides that she likes the new, more assertive Leonard. Leonard sees this as another opportunity to grovel and try to get Penny to sleep with him, so she leaves. On the spur of the moment in the recombination hypothesis, Leonard asks Penny out on a date after he imagined what getting back with her might be like. Their real date ends successfully and they agree to take their relationship slow in the beta test initiation. During their renewed relationship, Penny has dismissed comments about him ever leaving or dumping her, or about worrying about his unfaithfulness around other women and strippers, as in the episode The Stag Convergence. After Penny suggested having sex in the launch acceleration, Leonard breaks the mood by proposing to her accidentally. They later meet and Penny does have the courage to tell him no, and not break up with him as she did 2 years previously when he told her that he loved her. However, their relationship is still obviously strained. Leonard and Penny finish season 5 watching Howard being launched into space while holding hands to comfort each other. With the start of season 6, he wants a reluctant Penny to define their relationship in the date-night variable. Penny finally does admit her love to Leonard, in the 43 peculiarity. Penny and Leonard awkwardly stared at each other before running off in opposite directions. Leonard, though, was buoyed by optimism over Penny's admission. Alex Jensen asks Leonard out to dinner in the egg salad equivalency, which boosts Leonard's ego because 2 beautiful women are interested in him. However, Alex's interest makes Penny insecure. After another dispute with Sheldon, Leonard tries to move in with Penny in the spoiler alert segmentation, however she is not ready. During their Valentine's Day dinner in the tangible affection proof, Leonard again tries to propose to Penny and she cuts him off quickly. She admits that she is very happy with him, but she also admits to commitment issues and the thought of being married forever really freaks her out. Leonard then tells her that when she is ready to get married, she can propose to him. In the season finale, Leonard leaves for an overseas job for 4 months and Penny is confident enough in their relationship to wait for him. In the Gorilla Dissolution, Leonard and Penny become engaged. See also, List of the Big Bang Theory characters, references.